She suspiciously paid for everything in cash for years. Then people realized why. Anna Delvey lived a glamorous life. She rubbed shoulders with some of the most important people in the world. Although nobody really knew who she was, many assumed, as she had told them, that she was a millionaire German heiress who went from city to city spending money freely as she pleased. She cheated everyone and lived like a queen while doing it. Read on to discover the amazing life of Anna Delvey, the woman of the millionaire world who didn't have a penny to her name. Anna Delvey was a woman who everyone in New York's socialite scene used to know. If one were to ask where she came from, it's unlikely that anyone would get the same answer twice. She appeared in the Soho socialite scene and cunningly placed herself in all the places people wanted to be. Just from looking at Anna, you could tell that she came from money. That was also reflected in the way she acted. She acted like she could do whatever she wanted, whenever she wanted. That was among one of the reasons why no one realized what she was really up to for years. Anna Delvey didn't have a permanent address. She simply flitted from hotel to hotel, occasionally leaving the country to restart her tourist visa. When Anna moved into a new boutique Soho hotel at 11 Howard Street, she quickly gained a reputation. According to the people who knew her, she was always in the right place at the right time. She also knew all the right people, which is why the Soho hotel hadn't even asked for a credit card. Those people were helping her reach an ambitious goal, but they would ultimately lead to her downfall as well. Anna Delvey lived the life of a celebrity, handing out $100 tips like it was nothing and always wearing high-end designer clothing. She quickly made friends with the concierge at 11 Howard, a young woman named Nefertari Davis, known as Neff for short. Neff was intrigued from the moment Anna Delvey walked into the hotel. She was staying for a month, an unusually long time. It was something that only wealthy celebrities did. Each time she came down to the concierge desk, there was a $100 bill waiting for Neff. To Neff Davis, Anna Delvey seemed to fit the perfect profile of a Soho socialite and someone she should get as close as possible to. Neff was a budding cinematographer, and Anna's connections could only help further her career. Anna would come down to the desk to ask for recommendations on places to eat or places to go, but it quickly became apparent that Anna already knew the best places to go. She even knew the owners, bartenders, and waiters, so why was she getting so close to Neff? It quickly dawned on Neff that Anna Delvey wasn't a guest that needed her information, but rather wanted her time. She wanted a friend at the hotel, and that's exactly what she got. As Anna and Neff grew closer, so did the danger. You just sit there and listen because that's your concierge life, Neff later recalled. The interactions were foreign to her, but it was the first time that she stayed friends with a guest outside of work hours. Pretty soon they were going out to restaurants and clubs together. Anna Delvey quickly gained a reputation as being one of the most generous guests at the 11 Howard Hotel by giving $100 tips. People would fight to take her packages upstairs, said Neff, fighting because you knew you were getting $100. Anna Delvey knew that money spoke louder than words, and she was never short of her $100 bills. She paid for everything in cash and exclusively $100 bills. No one knew where her money came from, nor did they ask. She gave to everyone, said Neff. Uber drivers, $100 cash. Meals, listen. You know how you reach for your credit card? She wouldn't let me. Anna Delvey even got a personal trainer/life coach for the small price of $4,500, just a small price to pay, at least for Anna. With all the money Anna threw around, it was obvious that she was very wealthy, and from her European accent, it was assumed that she was the daughter of a wealthy European family and going to inherit millions. Anna seemed like a princess who was just taking vacation away from her castle. Apart from befriending Neff Davis, Anna Delvey took on the task of organizing and hosting large dinners at Le Coucou, a nearby expensive French restaurant, for herself and her associates. The events were amazingly star-studded. In attendance were CEOs, artists, athletes, and even celebrities. Anna's new gal pal Neff was, of course, invited to attend the dinners. One night she even found herself seated next to Macaulay Culkin, an experience she described as awkward. I had so many questions, and he was right there. But they were talking about, friend stuff, so I never got the chance to be like, so you're the godfather to Michael Jackson's kids? Anna Delvey had a secret power of persuasion over other people. She knew people and how to get in good with them. On the outside, she looked like a typical girl, in many ways unremarkable. But she had a way with people. One man who met Anna at Paris Fashion Week described her as a sweet and polite girl who simply introduced herself, and then all of a sudden she was hanging out with his friends and making conversation. That was Anna's main asset. She was a people person. According to those who knew Anna, she managed to be in all the sort of right places. She showed up to a Berlin party on a private jet wearing the fanciest of clothes. No one knew where her wealth came from, though. There are so many trust fund kids running around, said a marketing director named Saleh, who knew Anna. Everyone is your best friend and you don't know a thing about anyone. But as people would soon find out, Anna was one person you didn't want to know. Anna met Michael Zhufu Huang, a highly successful art collector and museum founder, at an art show, and the two immediately bonded. So much so that they decided to take a trip to Italy to celebrate the Venice Biennale together. Anna asked Michael to put the flight and hotel on his credit card, something that he found a little weird. She, of course, promised to pay him back. Michael didn't think much of it at the time, considering that it wasn't a lot of money for him, but would she ever pay him back? While in Italy, Michael thought it was odd that Anna Delvey paid for everything in cash. It was odd, but still not a red flag that something was amiss. Then the trip came to an end, and when it came to pay Michael back, she seemingly forgot all about the money. This, however, was nothing new to Michael. He was familiar with the super rich, and when you're super rich, you can afford to be forgetful of seemingly minor details. After some time, Michael forgot too. For Anna's birthday, she decided to go all out and throw herself a party to remember. She hired a PR firm to organize everything and make sure loads of successful people showed up. She also invited Michael, her super rich friend. The party was a success and everything seemingly went well, until afterward. Michael received a message a few days after the party asking for Anna Delvey's contact information because she didn't pay her bill. And that's when Michael realized Anna isn't who she appeared to be. Just who was Anna Delvey, and where did she come from? People began to wonder. No one was quite sure, and everyone who knew her had a different story about where they thought she came from and where her wealth came from. One friend stated that Anna Delvey's father was a diplomat to Russia and that she had family money. Another friend was told that her father was an oil industry titan. But just who was the real Anna Delvey and what was she up to? Another friend was certain that her family was big into antiques in Germany, and that's where her wealth came from. But unfortunately, all of the theories were wrong. Anna Delvey, if that really was her real name, would surprise everyone in the end. The speculations didn't bother Anna. In fact, it was the opposite. The more people wondered who and where she came from, the more intrigue there was surrounding her, and she wasn't about to let anyone get in the way of fulfilling her ultimate goal. Anna Delvey's goal was to establish an exclusive club featuring art called the Anna Delvey Foundation, or ADF for short. She even hired a creative director, London-based Mark Kremers, to help with the branding of her new venture. After scouting spots for the new club, she eventually found the perfect location. Anna decided that she would take on the redevelopment of a location at 281 Park Avenue South. The only catch? She would need to take out millions of dollars in loans. So, through her connections, she found someone willing to help her. Anna's financial partner, who was helping her to purchase the location, wrote in an email that she needed the loan because her personal assets, which are quite substantial, are located outside the U.S., some of them in a trust with UBS outside the U.S. Anna Delvey promised that she had the resources necessary to pay the money. She also promised not to embarrass the firm in any way. Promises that she wouldn't exactly be able to keep. She continued trying to purchase the location. As financial concerns grew, Anna Delvey started fundraising and invited wealthier guests to her dinner events. One of the guests she got close to was notorious pharma bro Martin Shkreli, the man who came under fire when his company raised the price of a critical medication from $13 to $750. He was later convicted of securities fraud and is currently serving prison time. Anna did something to be a popular woman about town, who knew everyone, Shkreli wrote. Even though I was nationally known, I felt like a computer geek next to her. Anna also picked up a few tricks from Shkreli, tricks that she would later use for revenge. Anna was very serious about the opening of her supposed foundation. She was always on the phone with lawyers, said Neff, who would overhear the conversations at the hotel. They were always toning her down, like, Anna, you're trying to make something that's worth this much be worth that much, and that's just not how it works. Then one night, Anna asked Neff out to dinner, and when it came time to pay the bill, it was clear that she was having cash issues. She even tried to pay with around 12 credit cards. All of them were declined. That's when things started to unravel for Anna Delvey. Not only was Anna Delvey having cash flow issues, she had a much larger issue on her hands. She still hadn't paid for her stay at 11 Howard. In fact, they didn't even have a credit card on file for her. The hotel had been treating Anna Delvey as a valued guest, being that she was a German heiress and a client of the hotel's owner. The owner owned the location she was attempting to purchase. So the hotel agreed to accept a wire transfer for payment, but after a month and a half, still no payment had been made. The hotel's manager asked Neff to deal with the delicate situation of Anna's bill. Considering that they were close friends after all, Anna owed the hotel around $30,000. Neff believed that Anna was good for the money and went to talk to her about it. Anna promised that a wire transfer was on the way from the bank, but what she didn't reveal to Neff was how much she was in over her head. Things were falling apart for Anna, but then a few days later something amazing happened. The hotel received a wire transfer on behalf of Anna Delvey in the amount of $30,000. And suddenly everything was back to normal for the young socialite. Or at least, that is what she thought. She was in for a rude awakening. The hotel still hadn't received a working credit card number for Anna's room. With bills racking up daily, the hotel was done playing games. They demanded a valid credit card, and if none would be provided, they threatened to change the code in her room. When no credit card was provided, the code to her room was changed, locking her out. Anna Delvey was furious. She couldn't believe that she was being treated like a commoner. That's when she pulled out a trick that she learned from Martin Shkreli. She told the hotel managers that she would purchase web domains in all their names so that they would have to pay her one day to get them. But in the meantime, Anna was off on a vacation to Morocco with her personal trainer, who remained unnamed, and a videographer named Rachel Williams. The trip to Morocco was also rife with issues. Anna's personal trainer got food poisoning and returned to the U.S. early. A few days later, the trainer got a call from a hysterical Anna. According to Anna, her credit card wasn't going through. The manager at the hotel was threatening to call the police and have her arrested, so she pleaded with the personal trainer to let her use her credit card and pay her back. That card also didn't go through. After another card didn't go through, the hotel conceded that perhaps the issue was on their end. When Anna returned to the U.S., she moved into another hotel, but the same issue occurred again. She couldn't provide a valid credit card to pay her $11,518 debt, so she was eventually kicked out and her belongings were confiscated. Anna was now on the streets of New York City, once a socialite, now homeless. Anna did her hotel scheme once more, but only got away with it for a few days before she was kicked out. Like at the hotels before, Anna begged her personal trainer to let her spend the night at her place, making vague suicide threats. The trainer didn't really want her there and had a date over at the time, but felt it was an emergency situation. Just how did Anna Delvey end up paying for that expensive hotel in Morocco? The bill landed on Rachel Williams. After being threatened with jail time, she was forced to put $62,000 on her American Express card, more than she makes in a year. When the trainer found out that her friend had been forced to foot the bill, she was furious. That was the last straw. She realized that she knew nothing about who Anna Delvey really was, and that they had been duped. Anna's trainer told the alleged German heiress socialite to leave her house. But Anna left her laptop behind, perhaps in an attempt to come back and stay. But the trainer wasn't about to fall for the childish tactic. She left the computer at the front desk for Anna to collect. But Anna Delvey didn't just come to get her computer. She came and stayed in the lobby, insisting to see her trainer. Even though the trainer was home, she refused to let her up. That's when things really started to get bad for Anna. Pretty soon there was no hotel in the city that would let her stay. Seeing as she didn't have any money, she even begged one of her lawyers to stay over at his place. He, of course, didn't agree and didn't want to bring Anna home to his wife. The lawyer did, however, get in touch with Anna's trainer. She also declined to let her stay at her house, but she did invite Anna to what would be an intervention at a nearby restaurant. She and a group of other people Anna owed money to were there. The group intervention was harsh, and rightfully so. Anna had swindled tens of thousands of dollars out of her so-called friends and colleagues. Anna started crying at one point, saying that she would have enough money to pay everyone back after she gets her lease signed. That's when they broke the news to her. The location that she was eyeing for her Anna Delvey Foundation had been rented to someone else. She brushed off the news, stating that it was all fake news. Then something drastic happened. By this point, articles were already being published about Anna Delvey, calling her a wannabe socialite. Anna didn't take the news very well. She was in tears, claiming that everything everyone was saying about her was a lie and untrue. Anna, however, was headstrong and stuck to her same old story that she had the money and that things had just taken a wrong turn. By the end of the intervention, Rachel wasn't convinced. The very next day, she emailed the New York District Attorney's office. She included an article about Anna and the words, "I think this woman is a con artist." It wasn't long before Rachel received a call. The person on the other end said, "We think you're right." Anna was soon arrested for her outstanding hotel bills. Wannabe socialite busted for skipping out on pricey hotel bills. The newspaper heralded as soon as they caught wind of the story. Anna found herself a lawyer and got out on bail. From there, it was back to the usual. She somehow gathered some funds and took a trip to California, where she was arrested again in Malibu. She was forced to return to New York to face 6 counts of grand larceny and attempted grand larceny, in addition to the theft of services. Anna was sent to Rikers Island jail without bail this time. She is currently awaiting trial and faces a possible 15 years in prison. And as it turned out, she wasn't a German heiress after all. Her real name was Anna Sorokin, and she was born in Russia in 1991. Her family later moved to Germany in 2007. And she was certainly no heiress. She came from a working-class family. When they were asked about the trust fund, they reportedly said that it was the first time they had heard of such a fund, meaning it didn't exist. Even after being caught, Anna is still trying her best to sweet-talk her way out of paying for her crimes in full. She offered the judge a plea deal of 1 to 3 years imprisonment, an offer that was boldly rejected by the presiding judge. Instead, the judge offered a counter deal of between 3 to 9 years imprisonment at most. Anna Delvey Sorokin turned down the deal, electing to go to trial. Depending on how that turns out, she might regret not taking the offer. According to the judge at the trial, Justice Diane Kiesel, Anna has shown no remorse for her actions. Kiesel also stated that Anna's plea offer of 1 to 3 years in prison was nothing more than a slap on the wrist. Unfortunately for Anna, it looks like the judges on her case are out for blood, as they say. They seem more than willing to throw the entire book at her, as she faces up to 15 years in prison for her crimes. Anna is currently awaiting trial, and there is going to be a Netflix series made based on her life. One of the judges in the case said that Anna is more concerned with who will be playing her in the series than her crimes. "This place is not that bad at all, actually," Anna said in regard to being held at Rikers. "People seem to think it's horrible, but I see it as like the sociological experiment." Even her lawyer said that Anna appears to be doing very well in prison. According to Anna Delvey, Sorokin's lawyer, she is like a unicorn in there. She has reportedly made lots of friends in prison and finds the murderers the most fascinating of all the inmates. She takes pleasure in studying the inmates surrounding her. "This one girl, she's been stealing other people's identities. I didn't realize it was so easy," Anna said, fascinated, which leaves many people wondering if she's enjoying her time behind bars just to learn a few more tricks of the trade. Anna's dream of founding the Anna Delvey Foundation has understandably fallen through. The space she was planning on using for the foundation at 281 Park Avenue South was leased out in July to a Swedish photography organization called Fotografiska, much to her dismay. Anna still speaks about opening her foundation, named after her alias, which was to be an arts-focused members club. And while she does admit that she did some wrong things, she says that it doesn't diminish the 100 things she did right. So just how did she manage to swindle so many people? Experts on Anna's case believe Anna Sorokin allegedly scammed people and numerous banks and hotels out of around $275,000. She allegedly used falsified documents to acquire loans from banks. The documents showed that she had millions of dollars in banks in Europe. She also floated bad checks between banks and took out loans of credit that she had no way of paying back. Perhaps her plan was to pay it all back after her business took off the ground, but that would be wishful thinking. The way that Anna Sorokin was able to fool everyone was quite ingenious. From check-kiting, false documents, loans, and through her friends, she was able to live a lavish lifestyle and swindle people out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. That being said, it was almost inevitable that she would get caught. Had her Anna Delvey Foundation taken off of the ground and was able to bring in a profit, she might have even gotten away with it all and became the socialite that she appeared to be on the outside. A number of posts have appeared on Anna's Instagram account since her imprisonment in Rikers Island. Is she Instagramming from prison? Not likely, but the content of the posts is very interesting. It seems that she is loving all the fame and attention. Anna is encouraging people to write to her while she is behind bars, but don't plan on visiting her anytime soon. Perhaps the person on the outside that is posting the stuff for Anna is just another Anna Delvey. Be careful who you trust.